I believe he's doing great. You know, he's still, you know, dealing with some people trying to hold on to his money. But for the most part, I believe he's in a good space. I think he's, you know, learned a lot from this past year, and, you know, hopefully he'll come out better on the other side.
When you saw some of the crazier things he was saying, the anti-Semitic statements he was making.
Crucial 13, you all appreciate it. Shout out to you.
Get crucial.
I'm hungry. I need some bacon.
Look at this. Look at this. This is the city I'm in right now. All right, we about to get into this Piers Morgan Ice Cube interview. Said some very interesting things. Hit that subscribe button, hit that like button, and leave a comment. One thing about Ice Cube is he's actually a little bit more conservative minded than your average woke people, but he still does subscribe to the, you know, the systemic oppression and racism thing, which I'm gonna tell y'all does happen, and it is a system to keep certain people down. Not certain people, everybody. Okay, it's a class system. The only thing is that the people that's doing it do not want y'all to know that they're doing it. What they want y'all to do is point the finger at the other people. I mean, on my channel, we talked about the Moors. We talked about civil rights being a thing that actually took your rights from you, took your human rights from you, and gave you civil rights. It was replacement of human rights. Who this was done by, which was, you know, Democrats and all that. We talked about how the Democrats started the KKK and then just flipped the script on the Republicans, pointing the finger at them and saying, hey, they're the ones doing it. Meanwhile, the Democrats are actually doing it. So what they don't want people to do is figure out that it's really them doing the shit. And I think Ice Cube is actually getting to that point where, as you can see, he doesn't come out and just say it because he knows what beast he's dealing with the system he's dealing with. So he got to say it in like a regular, you know, way. He just can't say, hey, like how I just said it, he can't just say it like that. But what he can do is drop hints like, hey, these Democrats didn't even want to work with me. Donald Trump wanted to work with me. The Democrats don't want to work with me. This woke culture destroying, you know, society. Like, he could say it in ways like that. But let's just get into this.
Cube is what my friends been calling me since I was 12 years old.
Let me ask you this. There's been a lot of stuff about the state of the world, about the state of America. Where do you see things right now?
I think, you know, people are very polarized in all kind of ways. People are afraid to speak out because of the cancer culture. I said cancer.
You had it right there too. It's cancer culture as well, okay? And now just to elaborate before we continue, that the systemic racism and all that type of stuff really is them in this country reducing us from our sovereign capacity, which means you're sovereign, you're governing yourself in your country, you're free or whatever, so that they can, you know, just govern us. It has nothing to do with the color. Because some people are under the impression that all these people, the oppressors, just hate black people, and it's like their sick little way of getting back. No, that's, you know, that's kindergarten thinking.
Cancel culture that we have today. So I just think, you know, people are afraid and they're running to their corners, you know.
In a way, it is a cancel culture. It behaves like that.
It does, because it makes not only the person that's getting canceled, they're trying to shut them up, but anybody's watching now, they shut up because they say, if it can happen to this guy, it can happen to me. So by smashing somebody who says something that you might not like and canceling them, it actually reverberates throughout the whole community, and everybody now is watching what they say all the time.
Well, see, what's the answer to this? Because I think it's crazy that in a democracy like the United States, like the United Kingdom, that people are too frightened to speak their mind, to say what they think. What do we do about this?
I think you say what you want to say, and to hell with the consequences. It may not be an easy road, but I think you feel better about yourself when you say what needs to be said at the time it needs to be said, and not afterwards where you go home and think, I should have said this when that guy was there, or when I was there, I should have said that and I didn't.
Well,
that haunts you more.
You can definitely say what the hell you like on this show. It's called Uncensored for a reason.
Well, that's why I'm here, man. You know, that's
You've
what
always
I'm
been
all about.
uncensored. Let me ask you this. Is America more racist or less racist than when you were a kid?
I think it's pretty much the same, because it's institutionalized, and you know, the institution takes on different faces, so to speak. In 1865, black people own maybe 1 or 2% of America, and I believe we're still in that same place.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Now again, it's because before the civil rights, now look at what the word civil litter, the word civil is in there, right? The civil rights, the dead rights came into play. You guys weren't calling yourself black, because black meant a slave status. It had nothing to do with your color. White meant sovereign, had nothing to do with so-called European people. Now a lot of them people that colonized the country took on the white status because they made themselves sovereign in this nation. But the black status, even in etymology, means dead, dying off, pale, you know, soulless, lifeless. It's like, you know, how we talk about on this channel, the death force. What is a demonic frequency, a low vibration? The people that came in and pillaged the country was low vibrational people, that they were black. Don't contribute any color to this. Get the color shit out your mind. We're talking about statuses here. They were black. They flipped that onto y'all and just put it onto the people that they target to keep down. That's why I say that the Democrats, their main focus group of people, need to be really concerned about why they're so focused on them, because their whole concern is taking people's sovereign rights from them and giving them these civil rights, which lawfully makes you a slave. And they're not just doing it to you, they're getting you to accept it. You're telling the courts you're a slave, so they live guilt-free about the shit. They taught you to accept it. So anytime someone tells you, hey, no, dude, black is a death status, don't claim to be that, they think you trying to take their identity from them. Oh man, y'all don't want us to be black. Like we're haters or some shit. Like, no, dude, I'm telling you, lawfully they taking your rights by getting you to claim that. So in this country, all the Moors that were here, which are still here, which was so-called black people, we just gonna say the word because y'all understand it like that. All the so-called black people identified as white. So when you see them statistics, Cube just ratted off, 1% of black people own something. That isn't indicative of so-called dark-skinned melanated people owning things. A lot of them owned a lot of shit. They didn't go under the term black though. Now it is impressive that the so-called people under the black status even got 1%. So it's like, how could somebody that's totally against nature, against man, against themselves, dying off, bleached, pale, whatever, soulless, lifeless, how did they get 1% of anything? And again, it has nothing to do with skin color.
But I thought you would talk about the so-called Jews. Yes, I do. But I don't mean all of them bad. We got some people in the world that still, they take everything that somebody else say and they think that's the truth. Some dude left a comment talking about Moors put black people in slavery and all this bullcrap like that. These some idiots. For number one, there's no such thing as black people. So you're dead and you're a slave, you're a bum. That's number one. You got no education to call yourself black. You learned that in the 3rd grade when you learn pronouns, verbs, adjectives, nouns, all that bull crap. In the 3rd grade. In the 1st grade, they taught you about colors. This is black. This is gray. This is blue. My beard is black. My skin, that hue, melanin. These people who still talk this nonsense, I ain't gonna do this no more. These people talking this nonsense, they idiots, uneducated idiots. They always said If you want to hide the truth, put it in a book. So these people just out here, they don't read books. They want to read the Constitution. They will talk about something, talking about some Moors, supposed to buy some goddamn slavery and all this kind of bullshit. Look at the Moors went into goddamn slavery, you dumb bastards. Some idiots out here. So-called slavery. After we lost the wars. But let's go back before then. I can take you back into before 325 AD when Ghana, I can take you back into Ghana stuff, talk about how the men, they want to get rid of the woman gods. Put people in slavery. I can take you into Nigeria, different other kind of places, so-called Africa. Well, every time they overthrew the woman matriarch system, people went into slavery. You idiots need to cut the crap out. I can take you all the way back into people, but they weren't called slavery. People just barbaric did stuff to people. But people still try to look at some crap, but can't look at stuff going on right here today. Ain't nobody putting you in no goddamn slavery. You putting your goddamn self in slavery for being ignorant.
And there was that thing West said about slavery.
When you hear about slavery for 400 years, that sounds like a choice. Like, you was there for 400 years and it's all of y'all?
They sedated you.
Yes.
Yeah. What was the thought process behind it? When you talked to a doctor about this, what did they tell you was wrong with you?
They told me I was bipolar. And I remember going on TMZ and saying, slavery is a choice. And they medicated me for saying that, for having that opinion and saying it out loud.
So you're an ignorant bum. You consider yourself a minority, you're a bum. How can you be the majority on the planet, but you're the minority in the United States and in other countries? Because you only use you only using a minor part of your brain. You're an idiot. Everybody in the world laughs at you because you're an idiot. Nobody goes around here calling themselves a goddamn coloring crayon. But dumb people, uneducated people. Yeah, let's just go at 1965. You wasn't black before 1965. But all of a sudden you come black, you cut your afros off, and you went dumb and got on drugs. So I guess it's not a curse, huh? You didn't see the spell, huh? Then let's go back a little further. I can take it back into 1956 when the Morocco courts lost the Morocco courts over here on the mulatto Eisenhower and put your civil rights in. Because you didn't want to be no Moors no more. You didn't know. You chose civil rights, see evil rights, Scottish rights, to be slaves.
So while the whole world is under this illusion that some colonizers came in here and just strong-armed everybody, and then in their mind, they're the superior race. This is how a lot of so-called black people think. They think they're superior to everybody, and in their mind, a less inferior, genetically inferior group of people, which is what they think so-called Europeans are, came and out-muscled them and took over the country. When in actuality, they just taught you how to give up your own rights. They got you drunk. They got you high. They got you low vibrational to where you actually got tricked out of giving up your own rights that you already had. And we're going to get back to Ice Cube, but I feel like this is a good teaching lesson right here. And I know a lot of people still going to go refer to these black statistics, not understanding that you all wasn't identifying under black before a certain year. You still think black and white means skin color and shit, and it really don't. Yes, the government plays into that right now because that's their game. That's how they separated us. And I know I defend a lot of the conservative, the Republican type thing, but a lot of them new Republicans now, which was actually started by the Moors, they play into the shit too. Yeah, I'm calling y'all out for that. Why don't y'all tell these people they not black? Why don't y'all tell these people that claiming to be black is literally lawfully them claiming that they don't want their rights? Literally by law, if you got that on your ID, I'm black, race black, you're automatically saying I don't want my rights. It's not saying that, oh, I got my rights took. It's saying I don't want my rights. So there's like a guilt-free aspect to it from the oppressors, so-called, that now you're the one claiming you don't want your rights. So that's your fault. That's why they say you got to do this shit for yourself. Nobody gonna help you.
Let's stop playing games, idiots. Not everybody out here, because a lot of people didn't know stuff, but the ones who think they know and always putting on comments about black and Africa and all that bullshit. Take your dumb, ignorant ass on somewhere. Take your ass to Africa. That's where you think you're from. Come majority y'all, some of y'all here from. Let me tell you something. Let me drop something on these bombs. When ancestors, elders first came on the planet, they just landed on one spot, and everybody was on the same vibration. Well, never no fucking life started right in goddamn Africa. It was on around the whole planet. See, you believe in some stuff the European man tell you, but you don't want to believe in other stuff he tell you. He told you life started in Africa. You believe that. He says black means death. You know, that you don't believe that. So we wrote these words that said what they meant. Etymology of words. Okay? So he say in the Constitution, black, African American, Negroes, Christians are not human. They're 3/5 of a human, and they're considered slaves and property in your Constitution. You don't believe that, but you believe everything started in Africa. You are black because you're considered a silhouette, considered invisible, considered target practice on the planet. And you wonder why you're getting killed every day by police and nothing happens. Because they're not killing nobody. Because you claim to be nobody.
And a lot of people wonder why Noble Drew Ali was saying this. You are not Negro, black, or colored, or African, or whatever else. You know, that cannot be claimed if you're going to be a sovereign citizen in your country, or, you know, not citizen, but sovereign being in your country. And some people will point out that in the Constitution, well, yeah, it's the white man laws that's saying that I'm not a man. They really think like it was written that whoever's dark skinned is less than a man. No, that was written before you ever started claiming to be black. That was already like that. When you considered to be Moors, you knew that was the law, that meant a soulless person, a savage person, a person that can't live in harmony with everybody in the planet, a person that's low vibrational, demonic, you know, death force type person, you know what I mean? So why would they ever claim to be that? When you're under that demonic frequency and life force, you are less than a human. So the Moors knew that. The Moors would never walk around saying they're black because they know the Constitution. But what happened was you got taught to stop reading that thing and stop reading everything. You got taught not to read and shit like that. Then they reprogrammed you and said you are black. So then along the line, when you finally did start to read shit, you're like, hey, they saying we not humans. That been like that. That was like that before you ever claimed to be black. So the moral of this is do not claim to be black. It's literally a death status in the country. You could be two things in the country. You could be white, sovereign, Moor, whatever you want to put attached to that. A moral being, you know, a harmonious, a high vibrational being that can govern himself, which is what white status means. Or you could be black, which is the opposite of that. Okay?
Hey, I really don't do these kind of videos right here, but a lot of people keep asking me about sovereign and all this kind of stuff, and they all afraid and want to get out of the system now and do all this stuff. They listen to people online, these lies, people trying to sell them wet dreams, and oh yeah, give me this money, I'll get you sovereign, I'll get you free, I'll get you this, and then you ass end up in goddamn jail behind some of that bull crap because they don't know how nothing about this paperwork out here and all this stuff. But let me tell you something, I'm going to give it to you simple and plain. You're already born sovereign because you was born a natural born citizen. That's natural born citizens. It's just God's. Everybody got the right to be free. You're born free. Then somebody sold your parents sold your love, gave you away. And birthright, you didn't do it. You didn't do it. So, but if you keep acknowledging that name they gave you, and you keep going by that name they gave you, and you keep standing in their system, using their social security number and using their goddamn names and stuff, then you automatically accept that straw man name.
It's barely changed.
Barely changed. In some ways, it's gotten worse. I mean, worse, but it's gotten worse. I think the Coroner Commission did something in 1968 about the poverty in America and how it affects all the people, and we're worse than we were in 1968.
The last rapper that I interviewed in this very studio was Kanye West.
Yeah.
You've had a wobbly relationship with him, but you're back on track. I read that you saw him, in fact, a few days ago.
Yeah, a couple of weeks ago. I mean, we were always cool. You know, he spoke my name without really explaining what he meant.
You know, when Ice Cube came out and said, I don't know where he gets the idea. Like, Ice Cube, we heard you for years tell us that Jerry Heller, who was a Jewish music executive, was evil. Like, we heard you saying these things over and over and over again.
It wasn't just Jerry Heller, though. He used the word Jew.
Right,
the
he
whole
did.
crew.
Devils, he called them devils. Like, so how now can you say you don't know where this came from? Like, he put out a whole picture of like this Monopoly board that was on the backs of black men with a bunch of white or Jewish men, it looked, sitting around the table, and said all we have to do is stand up. Well, you have Kanye trying to stand up, and now you have people like you being weak that, I don't know where that came from. This is what you've been pushing into our minds for years.
Kanye West and Ice Cube put their differences aside as they met and reconciled in Los Angeles. The two had clashed previously over West's anti-Semitic outbursts, with Cube denying any involvement. However, their recent friendly conversation indicates a resolution, as Kanye appeared relaxed and content after their meeting.
All right, now, you know, due to YouTube taking down that Kanye West Drink Champs interview, I don't want to use any footage from that. But Ice Cube, you know, apparently he was implicated with what Kanye West was saying, because you know the whole controversy when Kanye West was talking about so-called Jewish people, you know, doing a whole bunch of bad stuff or whatever. And he referenced Ice Cube because Ice Cube has an album called The Death Certificate, where the whole album, he's just taking shots at Jews and he's labeling them as a whole group. So he kind of did the same thing as Kanye West. But to be fair to Ice Cube, he was young when he did that. You know, Kanye West is like well in his 40s, I believe, and Cube was like 20 something back then. You know what I mean? But not to say each one of them was wrong at all, but just to give it some context.
And I just really couldn't leave that statement out there without, you know, he never explained what he meant. And so I had to, you know, kind of rebut that. But since then we've talked, and I think Ye understands that generalizing will always get you in more hot water than being very specific. You know, you can. Because
I haven't really seen much of him since I interviewed him. He's kind of disappeared. I mean, how is he? How's he dealing with what's happened to him?
I believe he's doing great. You know, he's still, you know, dealing with some people trying to hold on to his money. But for the most part, I believe he's in a good space. I think he's, you know, learned a lot from this past year, and, you know, hopefully he'll come out better on the other side.
When you saw some of the crazier things he was saying, the anti-Semitic statements he was making, what did you feel as someone who knew him well? What did you feel about that?
I felt that if he was really upset with specific people, that the message he was saying would kind of hijack what he's really upset about, you know, and you know, that's kind of what happened. You just can't generalize. You have to be specific, especially if you're talking about anybody, any race of people. You have to be specific on who exactly you're talking about.
Now, I'm glad Cube said that, because we're about to take a look at a few clips. Now, you can't generalize when you're talking about specific groups that, you know, run the pecking order in this thing, but for some reason, you could generalize white people and say they're all slave owners inherently, and they're all racist by nature. You know why I know that you can do that? Because they starting to teach that in school, called critical race theory. Critical race theory, CRT, is being taught in school that, and we're about to take a look at this, that white people are inherently racist because they're born into this white privilege system that they benefit from. And black people are inherently slaves, inherently the oppressed, apparently inherently under white people. And it is so important to teach the kids this so they know who they truly are, they say. And now before we play this, keep in mind all this stuff I told y'all about white and black actually being political statuses and actually being a caste system. Actually has nothing to do with your skin color. They reduced you so much from the actual truth to now they're teaching your kids, hey, if you're white, you're inherently a racist piece of shit. And if you're black, you're inherently a slave and you're a victim and you're worthy of being patted on the back because you grew up being oppressed.
The whole purpose of critical race theory is to provide Americans with a way to understand the legacy of racism, even though those stories sometimes hurt.
It's anti-American training that vilifies white people and demands they apologize.
The best learning for students about social studies and about our democracy and our country is the learning where students can really grapple with the issues and really come to a deeper understanding of how our past informs our present.
All of this revisionist, woke curriculum, you are not going to do this to our children.
Critical race theory, which is pretty much going to be teaching kids how to hate each other, how to dislike each other. That's pretty much, I don't care what it's pretty much what it's going to all come down to. You're going to deliberately teach kids, this white kid right here got it better than you because he white? You're going to purposely tell a white kid, oh, the black people are all down and suppressed. How do I have 2 medical degrees if I'm sitting here oppressed? How did I get, first of all, try not, we've only got 5 minutes now, 5 minutes. 2 medical degrees. No mom, no dad in the house. Worked my way through college. Sat there and hustled my butt off to get through college. You gonna tell me somebody that looked like all y'all white folks kept me from doing that? Are you serious? What's sickening about this whole thing is what y'all doing right now is already something I do in my community right now to speak out against stuff, because black folks are getting told by other black folks, oh, you know you ain't gonna be able to do nothing out there in the world because them white folks ain't gonna let you get no, oh, you know you're not gonna be able to do it here because you know, the white man gonna keep you down. Well, how did I get where I am right now if some white man kept me down? How am I now directing over folks that look just like you guys in this room right now? How? What kept me down? What oppressed me? I worked for myself from off the streets to where I am right now. You gonna sit here and tell me this lie of critical race theory? This the reason why black folks can't get ahead because of white folks? Are you kidding me? This is what we come to now. I can't believe we even talking about this right now. The last thing I'm gonna say right here is something that's crazy. Martin Luther King said he wanted his kids to grow up in a world where they are judged by the contents of their what? Their character, not their skin. If they letting this stuff go on right now, it is absolutely doing the complete reverse of what he's doing. So when February comes, don't talk about Martin Luther King. When February comes, don't talk about Black History Month. If y'all gonna sit there and just pretty much pee on his grave with this nonsense, that's exactly what's about to happen. When it all comes down to it, the person that's gonna be suffering from this, the ones gonna be hurt from this, is the kids. 10 years from now, if this stuff goes on, whose fault is it gonna be? Whose fault is it going to be? Who we going to look back on and blame for this? Because this is stuff we talking about right now. This stuff is going on right now. I do this stuff on a daily basis. I'm in the hood. I'm in the communities. I'm out there with folks in their face. I've been doing this stuff since I was 18 years old, talking to black folks. And you know what? None of them are buying this nonsense. None of them are. But if you want to implement this into the school system, I guarantee you to the day that I die, I'm going to be the very person right there debunking stuff, tearing stuff down, letting them know they can do exactly what I did and get exactly where I am by putting themselves to work and getting there. And ain't not one white person ever going to keep any of them from getting there. So the CRT stuff, BS.
Remember, you can't generalize, you know, these so-called J's or whatever you want to call them. You can't do that. And I agree that you shouldn't generalize everybody because there's good and bad in everything. I just wonder, why can you generalize so-called white people who don't all come from slave owners? I'm mostly Polish. My grandfather came here from Poland. I know my ancestry don't come from no slave owners in America. But because there may have been some of them people in America, I would be subject to the generalization of so-called white people being this systematically oppressive being. Some people might say, well, we got proof that white people own slaves and stuff like that. Well, we got proof that a lot of so-called J people run Hollywood and run the big shit that's being pushed onto people. I mean, is it not proof? Yeah, we should narrow it down to the people that are really behind the stuff like that. But I don't see why, you can't say their names. You can't say them as a group, but you could do this with so-called white people. And then it's funny how they push that on all the other white people and stuff like that, and totally dismiss themselves from being involved in it. When back then, Ice Cube, with the most people he was going at about racism and stuff like that was Jews. That's who he thought was the ones in power and stuff like that. Okay, well, how are they in power, but they have nothing to do with this systematic oppression that's going on? But they're the ones in power. They got all the power. And again, it ain't every single one of them, but if we could sit there and trace this back to them, why do they get to put this blame on every other so-called white person, but you can't even say them as a group? You mention them, you're getting fucking canceled. Ain't that some bullshit? And then the people that y'all think are the racist ones are the ones being outed by everybody. If you thought that the people that's in power are these systematically oppressive people, you would think the media would not be allowed to disrespect them. Keep it real. If they run the fucking media, why is the media running their name through the fucking dirt? And don't sit there and say it ain't like that, because it is like that. It's an open season on so-called white people in the media. You can say anything you want about white people right now. Stop playing. Stop acting like you can't. The same media that most these so-called woke people admit that is corrupt and stuff like that, they'll let you bash the shit out of Hitler, bash the shit out of Nazism, all this other white shit. But boy, if you say anything about this other group, your ass is grass. Y'all don't never think about that? And again, objectively, everybody ain't bad. There's good and bad and everything, so let's keep it moving.
Let's talk about the music industry. Huge amount of attention being given to artificial intelligence now.
Yeah.
Clearly it has awesome power, not least to replicate how people like you would make music. What do you feel about that?
I think it's terrible. I think it's gonna make people lazier, less creative. Could you imagine if an actor, if I decided not to do a sequel and the movie company said, we have the rights to your likeness.
Right.
We're gonna put you in this sequel whether you want to be or not, because
right.
We have the right to. So now they use AI to put Ice Cube in a movie I don't want to be in, saying things I don't want to say and doing things I wouldn't do. So to me, that's terrible. Or taking an artist that's passed away and having them do a new song with lyrics that they may not agree with. It's just, it's a slippery slope that will hurt us more than it will help us.
And some people think it's just a slippery slope, meaning okay, they doing something that may fall into something worse down the line, but their intentions ain't necessarily to make it worse. But when you implement some stuff like that, you start off small. So the slippery slope is intentional. If you believe in that type of stuff, this is all entertainment. Nothing in this video is fact. Now there is speculation about Jamie Foxx lately. Is that the real Jamie Foxx? Is that a clone? I have no idea. Check my video out like that. As you can see on the screen, that's what the thumbnail looks like. Go check that video out. I think they are rolling it out to where, okay, we're sick of these artists being sick of us and starting to backlash against us. So how about let's just hurry up and roll this AI out, so all the idols of the people that we're trying to, push mind control onto, that we could just pretty much say what we want them to say with this AI stuff. Nobody could tell if it's real. You ever get one of these AI apps? The really good ones, you barely could tell if they real or not. You barely can. All right, and I think they're just getting better. I think they've been having this technology for a while, and they're it takes a little bit to spring it on society, because not only does it scare society, they'll freak out and stuff like that, but if you spring it onto them right away, they're going to start questioning a lot faster than they would if you do it, sporadically and over time and conditionally. Imagine if before we even had these iPhones and stuff like that, that one day they just sprung all this onto us right away. Boom. Everybody going to be questioning damn, the government got some shit. The government really in cahoots with some bullshit right now, and it'll have everybody really tripping on them. They paint it as if oh, we don't want to do this because it's just going to scare people. They won't understand. No, it's going to scare people to the fact that they are onto you now. That's why y'all don't do it.
Is there a benefit that you can see where you could use AI to enhance what you do?
I mean, we use, automation here and there to help advance and make us sound better. But, once you take the paintbrush out of the painter's hand, is it really a painting from him,
Right. Well, it's an interesting question, isn't it? Is it? I mean, I don't know.
Like, if somebody does an Ice Cube AI song, how could it be an Ice Cube song? It's an artificial, it's like a mannequin or a puppet, or, that's how I look at it. It's not real.
Do you think it's going to kill us all, artificial intelligence? I interviewed Professor Stephen Hawking before he died. And I said, what's the biggest threat to mankind? He said, when artificial intelligence learns to self-design. That's it.
Yeah, I think, it's already figuring us out in a lot of different ways. I've heard that it's learned how to lie.
Yeah.
This is the, in every science fiction movie, this is the beginning of the end.
Yes.
Yeah, definitely.
They are telling you all this with movies like this. Megan, while y'all sitting there doing the dance she's doing on the screen right now, sitting there having a good time with your little artificial intelligence, that bitch about to pick up a sword on your ass real soon. Your stupid ass, yay, I'm doing the Megan dance, sweet. Bitch, pick that sword up on your ass, yeah. And this right here is just a sign that they took us out of nature so much. I mean, nature is God's frequency, God's creation, everything natural, everything man-made on top of nature right now with the concretes and the concrete jungles, the matrix, the wiring, the electricity running through the whole city, the artificial intelligence. This is all anti-nature. This is all anti what you really are. So it's really like demonic? Could we call it that?
You turned down a $9 million movie role in 2021. Any regrets? It's a lot of money.
Not at all. Not one regret.
Now we know right there what he's talking about is Hollywood, try to make him, do the thing that, the medical advice that they was giving him for every single role that people was taking in Hollywood. They had to take this, certain medication, whatever we want to call it. I don't know. I'm not saying it's right. I'm not saying it's wrong. I'm just saying the man turned down the money because he believed in something, okay? But it turned out that thing wasn't as, what they said it was. I don't know. This is all entertainment at the end of the day. But I hope this video gave y'all some information, got y'all thinking a little bit different, you know what I mean? And we went through a lot of things in this video. Definitely salute to Ice Cube. I think that he's, in a great process of breaking a lot of this systematic programming. Because a lot of people think it's, systematic oppression. No, it's systematic programming that you're under right now. And I believe that he's closer to breaking that than a lot of people in his position. And I think that once people figure out who it really is holding this monopoly board on top of everybody that you see on the screen right there, I think that's going to be a beautiful time in the country. I don't know. But yeah, the people who've been putting this over people's head for so long, man, they're wrong. They're pointing the finger at the people that's actually trying to help. Meanwhile, they're getting away with doing the shit. So it's just real controversial to even speak on. You know what I mean? They run the social media platforms. They run the big tech platforms to where you could say something if they want you to say it, and you can't say it if they don't want you to say it. It's just, this is what people saying. I don't know. This is all entertainment. Nothing in this video is fact, though. Hit the subscribe button if you ain't already subscribed. Hit the like button on all my videos. And let me know what y'all think up in the comments. I ain't woke. I'm up.
The end is near. We are all gonna die. The end is near. We are all gonna die.
You gotta choose sides right now. I told you, you can never serve two masters. Anybody who wants to hear this message, it's needed, but it's only for those who really want the information. But I don't want people to be here that don't want to be here. A lot of people don't realize it's a lot of work. I'm talking about going to the next level. It's a lot of work. And a lot of people, they don't really know what it takes. A lot of people haven't even got a clue. What seems easy is very difficult. You know, I'm only here because what I do is that I help people get there. A lot of people don't want to know how to really free themselves. But if it comes to something bad happening, they want to tune in. I'm not promoting drama, gossip. These are the things that the Matrix wants you to talk about. If you talk about elevation, they want to shadow ban you. Crucial 13, you are appreciated. Shout out to you.
Yeah, Crucial. I'm hungry. I need some bacon. Look at this.
Look at it. This is the city I'm in right now.